and why no one can trust them.
Shall we begin?
From the headquarters of the Truth in Broadcasting Network, introducing Truckin City Journal and the El Rushbo of Truckin News, Bossman.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show that puts the pedal to the metal on all things trucking. We are all about making sense to you. We are Truckin City Journal. Slightly different than my flagship show, but it does the same. I come before you with a news story that really matters, and I pull some of the issues from it, and we sit here and talk about it. Now, it may not be a full hour show, but I'll tell you what, it's an important one, and one I feel passionate will make the difference. We are the show that all others cannot be. Don't just sit back and watch all the news footage. Read the news articles, because anyone can read news. Anyone can talking points from the AP or from Reuters. Mainstream gives you propaganda. We give you a floor by which to know where that's coming from and actually know where the trusted sources can be reached. We provide it in a number of ways. We give you a call-in line. You can call our studio. You can put notes in the chat. You could send us emails. Either way, we give you the voice other news shows will not. And today I'd like to start out by giving you a little bit of inspiration. I'd like to make Truckin City Journal different in terms of giving you something to work for, something to think about every day. So today's quote or expression goes like this: the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. You know, like the picture a minute ago, everyone can be negative. Everyone can take a negative thought and let it rule their day. But are you putting good thoughts in your head? Are you actually thinking things through fully? If you do, then you're in control. Realize every day you do what you think. And I believe a lot of people need to be reminded of that, which is why I made this the quote of the day. I think it'll hopefully make a tremendous difference in your day and help you continue to be a better person. Let's get on with the show today. We're starting a movement. We are trying to make trucking great again. That is why I put this show out. That is why I ask you to join the fight, become part of this show, become part of this network, the Truth in Broadcasting Network. Subscribe today. We put truckers first. And we're going to do just that today with talk about the appropriations bill. We're diving headfirst into a topic that's shaking up trucking. Well, let me tell you why you need to stay tuned. In a publication from Fleet Owner, they talk about what the House Appropriations Committee has just passed as a funding bill for the Department of Transportation. $90.4 billion being given to agencies that affect our industry. These same agencies, by the way, I pointed out in previous shows, have little, if not any, trucking professionals running their helm. We've got $200 million dedicated to increasing truck parking. Great, no problem. And a host of other provisions in this bill. Well, they're good, but there's a lot you may not know. And you may, so put in the comments what you think of these non-professional bureaucrats making all the decisions. I have the link in the description of this show, so follow along if you'd like. I have something to say about the free-willing nature and attitude of our lawmakers. So let's start off with a committee of one. That is me. And today's bulletin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's cut through the noise and let's get to the heart of the matter. The latest funding bill passed by the House Appropriations Committee is being paraded around like it's the answer to our prayers. But let's not be fooled by flashy numbers and empty promises. We've been here before, and we've seen this song and dance time over time. First off, $90.4 billion for the Department of Transportation, Housing and Urban Development, and related agencies. Sure, it sounds impressive. Well, let's dig deeper. They've thrown us a bone with this $200 million truck parking availability. There's quite a few other little gadgets in here. Let me get the right slide. Come on, where'd I put it? There we go. $200 million for truck parking. And while it's a start, it's hardly revolutionary. We've been screaming for more parking for years, and now they decide to act. Yeah, with very little time to really actually make decisions and actually pass anything. What took them so long? It's a drop in the bucket compared to what's really and truly needed. Let's talk about the other so-called victories in this bill. Barring electronic logging device mandates for livestock carriers, prohibiting speed limiter requirements for heavy commercial vehicles. These are just good steps, but they're not new ideas. These are good steps. They've been on the table before. And honestly, wouldn't even have to be here to begin with if we had people that actually understood the industry making the decisions. Instead, we got bureaucrats who've never set foot in a truck once in their life. Then there's the industry. Keep my eye teeth so I can see what I'm saying. Then there's the industry or issue of funding reduction for DOT grant programs. Let's be honest, throwing money at the problem hasn't worked. We've seen billions wasted on projects that don't even address real issues we face. What we need are educated decision makers, people that have real world experience in trucking, people who can make informed and practical decisions rather than pushing paper and passing the buck. And don't get me started on this nonsense about combating greenhouse gas emissions. They've got a measure in there for the performance rules instead of dictating one size fits all solutions from their ivory towers. How about letting the industry decide the path forward on climate responsibility? We know our trucks. You and me, we get it. We understand the unique challenges we face out here. We are more than capable of coming up with these practical and effective measures to reduce emissions without strangling our industry in red tape and BS, bureaucratic, unrealistic deadlines. In fact, comment down below if you think you know somebody that could do better than these crackheads up there. In conclusion, this funding bill is a classic case of too little, too late. A hodgepodge of half measures and band-aid solutions that do little to address the root problems in our industry. We don't need more government interference. We need freedom. Freedom to innovate and the autonomy to run our businesses as we see fit. We'll continue to fight this uphill battle of misguided policies and regulations. It's time for real progress. And with this upcoming election, think carefully before you cast your vote, because we need people up there who know this industry inside and out, not some card shark that's on a prowl for lunch with a teaser and then last minute yank the table right out from under us. And that, my friends, is the bulletins. Put your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd like to know what you think of the bulletin. I'd like to know what you think of these lawmakers up here giving us half-ass solutions and giving us really only a taste of what really needs to be done. First of all, take a moment, go down below, like this video, like this broadcast, tell friends and neighbors we are here to help you make a difference. I have with me a couple of guests who probably feel equally as passionate about what I just said and in a lot of other areas and are currently going through struggles of their own. And we'll slightly close out the show with an update on some of that But in the meantime, let's bring on two of my favorite regulars indeed, Grumpy Old Trucker and Driving with John. How are you doing, my friends? John, I understand you're knee deep and neck deep in a weight loss competition. How's that going for you?
That's an interesting way to put it. It's
Yeah.
going very well. It's going very well. I feel like Midlife is doing these daily vlogs on his channel, so Midlife Trucker, go check it out. So he's putting a little heat on me, I have to admit. The last video I saw where he dropped like 3 pounds and he's projected out to lose like a whole lot of weight. Yeah, he's worrying me a little bit, but I'll still win. I got secret cards in my pocket that nobody knows about. Driving with John will be victorious. So
I don't doubt it, my friend. I got a lot of faith in you. I also got a lot of faith in you, Grumpy. You take the day usually with unknown surprises. I said you had a secret weapon. We all know what that is. You know, some of your medications, but nonetheless, I worry about you because sometimes you have a tendency of not remembering the basics. So I'll bet it's equally as troubling and challenging for you to get this weight loss thing down. But like I said to John, I have faith in you, my friend. How do you think it's going? How do you think it's going?
You know, I guarantee I'm going to drop something off. I mean, I'm not going to be probably as skinny as them two, but I'm going to try my best. You know, because I've got some grandbabies that are looking forward to their grandpa to be alive and around them. So I've got to do something with my health.
God bless it. Yeah. You are the one in control of your health. So you have to make the last minute decision. And I got to tell you what, you seem to have, like I showed here in picture a minute ago, you seem to have a very positive attitude about it. So God bless you. I wish you both and Midlife, I know he's probably watching, all the best of luck. I hope somebody comes out. And in the end, whoever wins or whoever doesn't win, we are doing what's good for our health. And that's something that you watching this should pay a lot of attention to. I got another guest. Oh, go ahead, John.
Sorry. Guys, if you don't know this yet, you can go watch my original video. If you want to jump in with us, with me and Grumpy and Midlife, if you can beat me, not beat them, if you can beat me, whoever beats me by the most wins a Driving with John hat. So if you want to throw your hat in the ring, I'll throw mine in the ring too. Let's do this.
All right.
So there you
I
go.
know somebody who might just throw his hat in the ring. If not, he'll stay in your corner, giving you grief when you fail. Boom! Fake trucking. God bless you, my friend. How's it going?
I certainly am not going to join any weight loss challenge. I wish you guys nothing but the best in it, though.
Right.
I do think John has a couple of aces up his sleeve that's going to shock the other two participants. So I'm going to put my money on Midlife Trucking.
Give us the dirty down low. Come on now. Don't hold back.
Did he just say he was going to put his money on Midlife Trucking?
I am.
Yeah. Thanks.
I feel like hang on. Can someone get that knife out of the center of my back, please? What was that? What was that? He just pumped me all up and then slam.
All right. We're all in this for the good and for the better. Whoever wins, good. Whoever don't, even better, because everybody's getting a positive out of this. All joking aside, I wish all of you the best of luck. Frank, Kate, what do you think about my bulletin today? Do you have anything comes to mind on that today?
Well, obviously I don't like Big Brother overseeing everything in our lives, not just business, but the idea that we know what's best and we'll do what's right for the for the environment and things like that. I'm gonna have to go ahead and disagree with you on that one. Mm-hmm. Just for the simple fact, take somebody like me. I drive a fuel efficient truck. I drive a truck that is equipped with, clean idle burning and all that. And I want the W900. I want the smoke out of my stacks. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I can only speak for myself. I certainly wouldn't do anything to.
You had the freedom and autonomy, as I pointed out in the last part of that bulletin, to make that choice. And you decided to get the truck you wanted for the fuel efficiency reason and for the decision that you had control over your future.
Well,
I mean, to the
you
point
could
my
say it was a
bulletin
choice.
makes. Well, to the point my bulletin makes, a bunch of bureaucrats in an office somewhere who have never done what you and I do are calling the shots and saying what we have to
Yeah.
do. And that's the
And
point
like
my
I
bulletin makes. And there's just no room in society for that.
Like I said, I don't really agree with that. But then again, that's why we elect people, because we think they have our best interests, all the way from your city government all the way up to the federal level.
Right.
We try and do what we can do, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of good that comes out of this, such as the $200 million for parking. Everybody here on the panel knows we need more parking. We need it fast. And we need other solutions. But to say the least, parking will certainly alleviate a lot of stress that we're put under on a daily basis. The speed limiter requirements, who here wants speed limiters to pass? I mean, honestly, I don't know if there's really any room to do anything about the livestock issue. I mean, I always thought with the exemptions they have, I mean, who really worries about that? But I mean, there's some good stuff in it, but then there's also a lot of stuff that just wastes resources and time. And honestly, don't do a damn bit of good for the overall industry, just a specific sector. And that's where I'm saying, we need people that actually know, okay, industry wide, what makes it, what makes a dent, what makes a difference, instead of spending $90.4 billion on stuff that only helps part of the industry, why not collectively put everybody together in the same room and say, okay, this helps the whole industry. We wouldn't need to do all this stuff if they didn't pass the speed limiter BS to begin with. Whose bright idea was that? That wasn't somebody in the trucking industry. That was some manufacturer who thought it would be great to make money on the whole thing.
Actually,
go ahead, John.
Oh, I'm sure.
Go ahead, Pete.
Go ahead, Pete. Go ahead. You're sure?
Sure,
what,
there's some companies that were on board with that whole deal.
Yeah.
I will tell you 100% my opinion, and this is only my opinion, and I can't back it up with facts or numbers, but everybody that's going to listen to this is going to know this. That is 100% an insurance company policy. Insurance companies say if you travel at this speed, statistically you're safer. That's why they're passing it. Has nothing to do with trucking.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of it has everything to do with profitability and donor position. I'm sure a lot of it has everything to do with that.
It's all about the insurance companies. That's where the money is. So, follow the money. See exactly. who's putting money where. It does favor larger carriers because they already have speed limiters, but outside of that, the insurance companies 100%.
Yeah. Grumpy, I mean, when you look at this list of things that are on this bill, I mean, take a look for just a second. And as soon as you answer this, I'm going to get to it, the comments. I'm sure everybody in the show is probably thinking I'm ignoring the comments. I'm not. I'm just trying to time it a little differently. So bear with me, people in the audience. But Grumpy, what do you think out of that list of things is really the biggest waste of time?
I believe it would probably be the
everything.
Yeah, I mean, well, pretty much. But I mean, the biggest one I can see on there probably would be the California stuff.
Right.
I mean,
I think, well, yeah, because I mean, there's so many of these darn, so many of these damn states are just, jumping on board with it and making it such a big deal. But I can make another show out of that. I mean, just bottom line is I think 90% of it's just garbage. It's waste. Thank you, Truckin' is Dead, for the loving support. Hit everybody with the like and subscribe. Definitely me. Appreciate that. Thank you. They're all against trucking or try to kill the small business. There's some truth to that. I mean, none of these policies ever really favor small businesses. I think in large part, most of them favor the corporate entrance. Shannon picking on, they do have mac and cheese, too little. To midlife, we all know how much you love your mac and cheese. Everybody send midlife mac and cheese. Uh, anyway, yeah,
Um,
no funny.
I want to say, kind of basically, once again, like I said on a past live we just did, it has
Yeah,
to do with a lot of these pencil pushers and keyboard jockeys in offices that have never stepped a foot in a truck, have no idea about what trucking's all about, and don't care.
right. True that. True that. Come on, I'm trying to get my notes to cooperate with me here.
You know what it's like with our government when it comes to trucking? It's like we're in the desert and we're dehydrated, right? So what
Hmm.
they do is they're like, okay, well, we need to address this somehow. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these dehydrated truckers and we're going to submerge them in the ocean, and hopefully that takes care of the problem.
That's
Basically,
a
they just
pretty that's a pretty mean way of looking at it. I mean, our government ain't that bad, really.
look, we've had all these problems for years, right? So what do? They throw this thing out here, throwing all this money at it, just at about 1,000 different problems, fixing none of them.
No,
Hmm.
none. You're right. None of the
They're they're
problems
they're,
actually
they're trying.
solved.
They're basically trying to kill us with the one thing that we actually need help with, and that's money. But the problem is they're putting the money in places that honestly only helps this much. Don't get me wrong, truck parking important. A lot of things out in there are important, but some of it's a little too late and not enough.
Very true.
So,
Very true. It can be a problem. I mean, especially when you're talking about the difference between actually succeeding and making an industry better and making it fall apart. To trucking is Dead's point. You know, they're just trying to kill the small guy. And it really it's really a downright shame when you think about it. Um,
hmm?
come on, where am I going here? My controls are not working right. If you were to make any changes, Fate, what specifically would you change? Do you think anything on that list I brought up earlier represents a complete waste of time?
So I cannot read the list. Maybe you could kind of go over the list with me real quick.
Sure, not a problem. That's what
Is
I'm
that
trying to do
okay?
right.
I mean, if you're
No, no,
asking
no.
me
I got
where,
no problem with that at all. I'd much rather knowing
I mean,
you're busy and can't read the screen. First thing on the list is it dedicates $200 million to support truck parking availability. It bars electronic logging device mandates for livestock carriers, prohibits speed limiter requirements for heavy commercial vehicles, blocks congestion toll programs, limits support for California and Washington meal break rest break rules, the state of Washington, combats traditional greenhouse gas emission performance measurement rules, and reduces funding for DOT grant programs. It's quite a list, quite a large one.
well,
You
okay,
think any?
so
Okay, go ahead.
I heard like three things on there that were good.
Right?
Am I missing something here?
No, I mean,
Like,
yeah, we'll probably
there,
agree on truck parking, right?
yep,
And the speed limiter requirements.
yep,
And I'm kind of guessing on this one, but I think you'll agree with blocking congestion toll programs.
yes.
Other
Which
than that, okay, go ahead.
let's talk about the things we like here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The lane I run, which is the Midwest out to the East Coast, if I
Okay.
choose to take toll roads, they minus the Indiana toll road, they're like stuck in the 60s still. Um, you stay on 80 and you don't have to go through the toll booths anymore, which is super nice, super convenient. There's more parking like in Indiana and stuff like that. Now they've like the rest stops that they redid are just massive. The speed limiter things, I don't want to be told what I need to put in something I own, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I just don't agree with that. Um,
Right.
if they made it a mandate, well, then it's my responsibility as a business to either work within the guidelines of what my business operates in or find something else to do. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Um,
Very true.
they're not taking my freedom away because I still have the right to choose what I do. They are imposing that I do something to something I own, which I have a problem with.
I think all of us can say that without a doubt.
But
I
but
mean,
if you're asking me, I mean, honestly, I think I think money should go to training. I think truck
100%.
parking and training would be where I would want to see a large portion of money. Like if I was sitting, as you guys say, a pencil pusher and or keyboard warrior, that's where I would say I would want the money to go.
I agree with you on that. And unfortunately, last line item, which I got my finger pointing to right now, this appropriations bill reduces funding for grant programs. So unfortunately, training would be negatively affected because that's one of the things DOT does.
Well,
So
grant programming, if you're, it depends what grant they're talking about, because during that, what we experienced a few years ago is the federal government gave states so much federal money and grants for people to get their CDL licenses. So maybe that's what they're cutting the grants on. Unless it says exactly what the grant money is being
Right.
used for, we're just speculating. You know what I
very
mean?
true, very true, very true. And we're sitting here talking about, what specifically may be in it. Really, the majority of the bill itself has already passed. I mean, most of this stuff has already been set in motion. What we're talking about here is the appropriations, which is the funding for it. Now, Midlife pointed out in a previous show exactly what I put in the second slide and second half of the bulletin, which is it's all a feel-good bill. All this stuff is designed to do is engender an emotional reaction out of the average everyday voter and inspire them to vote their conscience. They'll do it now mostly knowing that a feel-good bill is in the works. It'll either inspire them to vote because they don't like it or because they approve of it. So it's really there for a smokescreen, and really 90% of it is just that smokescreen only.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Go ahead, Fate. You're important. Your opinion is important.
I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes here or anything like that, but that's every bill. That's
Okay.
that's everything that's ever
Good point.
passed in our government.
Good point. But
You
did you
know,
ever notice? But then, no, Fate. Did you ever notice that we hear nothing for like years and months on end, and then all of a sudden, 2024 election, and bing bang boom, bing bang, they come left, right, and sideways with all kinds of these stories. What's it going to do? You're either going to vote Democrat or you're going to vote Republican, one or the other, because of what you're seeing in the news every day.
Whoa.
I'm not saying you personally, but I'm saying the average person. That's the way they're thinking.
You got to remember, we do have three parties here.
I know. Yep. But what I'm saying, it's going to push your voting card one way or the other. John, what do you think? I mean, do you think it's like I said, a smokescreen just to get everybody involved?
Listen, we're all old enough. We've been around. We're not all, none of us are spring chickens. Every 4 years, they make a lot of promises. They do a lot of things that look great. And then after the election, it all goes away. And we never knew, nothing ever happens. So I hate to be Debbie Downer here, but guys, honestly, that's what this is. That's what every 4 years this happens.
Yeah.
So at this point, I think all of us would probably agree. We'll never see the benefits of most of everything you're reading. So, or
One
the
more
downside, either one.
One more thing this fleet owner article pointed out, and I haven't put up any graphics on it, but it's just something I noticed. All right. Language in the bill also reflects what they want to do about predatory towing. They've got language in here about that, and they're looking to go after it. Now, if there's something that really needs to be highlighted, addressed, and fixed, there's something the audience can place in the comments and tell me what you think. What do you think about predatory towing? Does it need to have congressional action or maybe governmental interference? Because it's something we all deal with. and we've seen a lot of press. So, I mean, while they're ensuring fairness and transparency, why not set limits? Because that's what the bill addresses. They ensure fairness and transparency. That's the language in the bill. Okay. But I think let's set limits. Let's make it impossible for someone to capture a truck and charge you $16,000. Look back on one of my videos. You'll see what I'm talking about around Truckin City Media. But think about that. Why not set limits? What do you think, Grumpy? A limit on trucking? I think so.
Sorry about that. What exactly was it about now?
Well, they got language in the bill about predatory towing and setting limits to, or setting policies to include fairness and transparency. Really vague, really underestimating what people are going to read. I say they need to set limits, and that language is not there. What do you think?
By predatory towing, you mean like towing our big trucks around when necessary, or what are you talking about?
In my video about A1, come along, grabbed a guy off an accident, and then turned around and charged him $16,000 for miscellaneous
okay, so that's
inflated charge.
Yeah, if they will go through with it and actually and enforce it and cut this back to where they're cutting a driver's throats or even the company's throat, yeah, I mean I could see that would be very useful. But like Big John was saying a while ago, it's a lot of talk and no show. You need to show us.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense to do it that way. What's your
About the parking thing, the other day, me and Midlife were talking about this. I think you guys were involved. We were all in this conversation, and he was talking about how the fines and the fees that you get and everything that happens. You're on somebody else's property and you're not following their rules, so that's why you get charged these fines. So in his opinion, there were no fines that were too much. Well, I tend to. Originally, I told him he was wrong, but I have to think about that for a second. If somebody's parking their rig on your front yard, don't you have the right to have it towed or to charge them fees or fines or storage, whatever you see fit?
I agree with that. And my answer to your question, I think, is the same as it was in the conversation. Yes, because your property, your rules. But you don't own a tow truck, and you can't make those rules. The towing company does. And what's to stop the towing company from assessing the value of your truck and say, okay, you owe me $100,000 to get your truck back?
Well, no, right. They're enforcing the rules that are part of my rules of parking in my yard.
Right. Well, again,
they're basically the police in the situation.
I think we had this discussion, and I didn't bring it up.
That's the problem. They're not. Towing companies are not the police, John. They have no authority.
No, they're not. But my point is, if I have a rule on my property that you can't park in my front yard, but you do, they're the ones I call to have you towed. Yes. And I can charge whatever fees I want to you because you left it in my yard. Legally, that is 100% legal.
I don't disagree with you on that. I think the problem we've ran into is in this, and there's a bunch of articles down in like Memphis, Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois. A lot of it is stemming from people hitting bridges and they're being told one price at the point of contact when they show up to remove the equipment. And then when they go and try and get their truck back with that price, they're hit with an astonishing bill. Now, insurance usually covers massive toll bills. So I am shocked that there isn't some sort of limitations already in place because insurance companies get involved when it comes to heavy highway towing. But I do think if somebody tells you, hey, it's $3,000 to get your boot off your truck or off your windshield, and then you pay them $3,000 and they tell you, oh, it's another $3,000, that's fraud. Whether you're on somebody's property or not.
I agree with that. That's wrong.
I agree with Fate on that. The problem is, just like in my home state, they have a whole different ballpark of laws governing how tow trucks operate. So each state has their own governments that individualize how a tow truck operation can be. They have the way they're allowed to charge everyday rate. They're allowed to charge certain things like chalk blocks and things like that. I mean, you name it. They have ways of making money. I used to be a tow truck driver hauling cars, so I know this is basically the same concept.
Yep. 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 Well, guys, I mean, I'm going to catch up on the comments here because I think we owe it to the audience. They're contributing. So, we have, stop it. My computer's going nuts here. We have Griff US, Griff had to adult some to see if they can make it where you can. I get what he's saying. Have to add it to where you can have to know or be proficient in English to communicate. And it's not part of that, Griff, but you make a good point. Yes, that would be a good thing to.
That.
Yeah, definitely. Midlife contributing to our discussion we just went through. Why not set limits on freight rates? It helps to keep inflation down, right?
No.
Mm,
Actually, it's the other way
Hey,
around. Inflation is what decides what the rates are.
well, he's got a ABC News article. I don't know if he's trying to stir up the conversation, but I'll definitely pull it up.
No, that's the next one down. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that would show you who the real businessmen are, businessmen and businesswomen. 100%.
I think. Well, I was just going to say.
I'm not saying I'm fully against that, and
Well,
that might sound ludicrous, but I'm not. I mean, I want to make as much as possible. Don't get me wrong.
right.
But I think you would learn real fast who the businessmen and women are in this country.
WCF Invader is opining on the link. He's the one that put the link up. He's telling us, click the link if you dare. News media is reporting a truck driver caused a double fatality yesterday. I-70 in Missouri. Watch the dash cam in the link. It shows a four-wheeler. Okay. Good deal. I appreciate that. Good that you're sharing. I will look into that. And if it's newsworthy and worth reporting, I will do another journal on it. And I'll certainly opine on that.
And
Dude,
I feel like
I'm
there's a
telling you
short coming out of that.
Could be. You never know. Dude, let me tell you, WCF Invader just started a thing. And I want to remind you in the audience, if you have any news you'd like shown every day on this show, by all means, do something. Don't just stand there and watch the show. Give us the information we need simply by emailing the show. That's Truckin News at Outlook.com. That's Truckin News at Outlook.com. You can help contribute to making trucking great again. WCF Invader, I thank you. That's a great thing. I'm glad you did that. Look, guys, at the end of the day, I mean, you know what? You guys need to know what's right and what's not. I'm here to tell you my opinion on all these things. Go ahead, Fake.
I was going to say, can I make a dumb argument about something real quick? Stir the pot a little bit.
There's no such thing as a dumb argument. There's just.
Or do you want to?
Dumb arguments.
You want to read some more comments?
Go ahead.
Okay. So this goes on the emission systems of the trucks, right?
Uh-huh.
And by no means like are we getting like I choose not to get political, right? But yeah,
right.
People. Yeah, and I'm not saying I support or don't support this. I'm just saying something. You'll hear it a lot on like mainstream media. People that really support like the Second Amendment. We should have the ability to basically have the same weapons that our military has, right? To stop tyranny. Why can't we have the same vehicles that the military has? Meaning the military does not have, they have diesel engine vehicles that don't have after treatment systems on it. Why? Because the military has deemed them like a problem. What's the word I'm looking for? Like an issue. So they refuse to put them on military equipment. Because
they're going to blow up a city. The last thing they're worried about is NO2 emissions.
Well, I'm just curious. Why can't we drive the same stuff the military has? Why can't we start that movement?
Yeah. I get where you're going with that.
The federal government which is part of the, the military and funds the military,
Uh-huh.
doesn't require them to put after treatment systems on their diesel engines,
Very true.
but
Very true.
they make us.
Yeah. That's a
I
good
get-
point to raise. I like that. What do you think, John?
I get where you're going with that, and I'm not going to say I disagree 100%, but let me ask you a question. If you have to do a regen sitting in a truck stop parking lot, what does it really affect? Now, in the middle of a war, in the middle of a battle, when a truck has to do a regen, it could be lives on the line. So, a little different, but
Yeah,
Well, I can make
yeah.
that argument for the Second Amendment.
And you can also make that argument for you, Fate, because
No,
you drive
you
a reefer
can't.
truck. No, you drive a reefer truck. The stuff you have is time sensitive and cannot sit there waiting on a regen.
that's not true.
Am I right?
But
Am I right?
no,
Well, no.
Nah, come on
that's
now.
a reach.
I wish
That's
I
a
could
reach,
say
man.
yes. I
But
was
no.
just trying to do
I
something.
was trying to
funny.
give you props, dude. Come
Well,
on
no,
now.
I
Yeah.
will tell you the difference between the Second Amendment and what you're saying. The Second Amendment is a right given to us by our Constitution, and nowhere in
Right,
the
I get
Constitution that says you have a right to drive the same vehicles as your senators and
I-
presidents do. Trust me, I
Oh.
wish that we could. 100%.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You're-
Wait a minute.
you're-
Does the military have Humvees?
Yes.
Do
Can
we?
you go out and buy a Humvee?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you haul 80,000
If it's
pounds
a
of cargo in it?
diesel engine, it's gonna have an after treatment system on it. By law, it has to.
Yeah.
Is a Humvee a
because there's an
military piece of
exemption.
equipment?
There's still
What-
an exemption on
actually-
that, Fate.
The government can give themselves exemptions.
Okay.
You know that, right?
I'm just fucking. Oh, sorry. I'm just screwing around.
That's all right.
This is like when we're backstage, guys. I'm not.
Yeah.
being
Dude,
serious.
that's the passion I want because that's what truckers are. We're
Oh,
passionate
no,
about what we do.
this is actually tame compared to backstage, but yes, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Last comment I'm gonna entertain. You can put MRAPs in an auction, but I agree as a veteran, I feel if I owned a newer truck, if I want to remove it, I can. Good point, my friend. And I think his comment basically speaks to your earlier point, Fate. We should, by rights, have more freedom and flexibility to make the decisions we want in this country when it comes to how we run our business, what decisions we make, how fuel efficient we want to be. These people up in office do not, under any circumstances, understand what it is we need. They don't get what it takes to run this country. So let me tell you something. When it comes down to it, we'll continue to fight this uphill battle. We'll make them realize these misguided policies and regulations are just that, misguided, and do not represent the majority of us. Join the fight. Continue to look, watch, subscribe, and like. And today, together, we will send a powerful message to our leaders. It's time for change, and it's time for you to take our industry serious because it's trucks that make the deliveries, not the politicians, but you, the drivers behind the wheel, that make the difference. Till next time, guys, do me a favor, keep it between the lines, keep the faith, and by all means, keep it rolling.